Alright, we are here with Curtis Graham, the guitarist in ILL OMEN, and we're going to go through a rig rundown of his rig. Okay, so let's start with the actual guitar. What kind of guitar is this?
The crappiest guitar on planet Earth? No, not really. This is a Squire Fender Bullet Strat. Got two ohms here that are pretty rusted out. So basically, what I do most of the time is I actually keep it only on the bridge setting. I don't really use the neck humbucker that much. And then these are both passive pickups, by the way. They're just whatever came stock. When you're like me and you don't play with this neck pickup, you end up just sinking that down as far as you can. So when you're picking here, the pickup doesn't get in the way, you don't hit it, because this is the one that's actually going to be picking up the most of the sound. And then we're going to transition up to the neck here. This is an after market neck. Story of it is we were putting these tuners in, and they're not the same size hole. These are 10 centimeter holes, and I think the original tuners are like 8 centimeter holes. So we failed to put these tuners in, and we destroyed the other neck, still sitting somewhere. So this doesn't have the Fender logo on it, obviously. So what we did is we got an aftermarket neck, and we made it maple because I like maple better. And we finally did get these tuners on here. These are the D'Addario Planet Waves locking tuners. So if you've watched rig rundowns from like Chris Broderick or whatever, when you put these strings in, you put them through the post, and then you turn it, and then once you get about, it'll start here, and then once you get the tuner to about here, this post will end up cutting the string for you, and then it'll lock it in place.
That's pretty cool.
And that's pretty much all the things that happen with the guitar. And then, I lost my volume knob. That's perfect. I'm gonna put that back on. Stand by. Oh, I dropped it.
Alright, so what kind of strings are you using?
These are the 10 to 46 Elixir polywebs. They last a good amount of time. Basically, what they do is they put these coating around the strings, kind of like pantyhose. Basically, you put around the string, and it keeps it so your tone stays alive for a long time. And then for these strings, anyway, these top 3 strings, they're anti-rust, so they take longer to rust. On this guitar, I've had this pair of strings on here for like 6 months now, so they work pretty good.
Okay, so what kind of picks do you use normally?
These expensive ones right here, there they are. Get a good take of that.
Right,
those are the Dragon's Heart. Those are the pure ones. The GT is good too. The Harden and the original aren't that great, honestly, so don't go with them. Only get the pure or the GT if you're gonna do it. That's about all we got on this side of things. Now we got to go through this big thing.
What do you want to start with here?
Okay, we're gonna start with this amp here, and you can get the settings too if you're interested. This is pretty much the cheapest tube amp you can get. The Bugera V22 Infinium. Don't get the non-Infinium ones. They're prone to blowing up, apparently. I don't want to test that out. So if you see these, get Infinium, especially if you're in the used market. Get the Infiniums. The secret to how this amp works with the tone, the tone and everything, you see this master. This is like the master volume. You put that on 10. But if you go back and you go to like these channels right here, I have the clean channel set to like 1.5, which is where I primarily go through because I use a distortion on the board. And then the volume for the dirty channel is set about 2.5, 3 right there. You do that because it gives more bite to the gain. And then you also, one thing you need to know, you don't want this treble or this presence control to be that high up. And then the reverb, you can set it to whatever you want, and then you can control it with this pedal down here, control the channel and everything. And also in general, you're going to want to put in the bright input when you're doing everything. I'm going to start plugging this in.
Okay.
So we're just going to, this is just a clean sound on bridge pickup. So that's just nothing on at all. This pedal right here has a foot switch controller that you plug in. You plug the cord in the back and you can control the foot switch. So I'm gonna engage the reverb on this clean tone. I have about 2.5, 3 on the amp, and you can tell a little bit of a difference. But I'm generally not on the clean tone that often. Now, if we're going to talk about signal chain on the board here, there's a lot of stuff going on here. From the guitar here, this cord goes in the back of the Morpheus. Morpheus is interesting. It has its own power thing that I have running because it's, I think it's 12 volts. But in general, this has a bunch of different settings. So the pedal's not on right now, but each time you go down a half step. So now on this setting, it's on E flat. You go to D, C sharp, C, B, B flat, A, and then there's the last two settings are just to make it sound like a bass, and then an octaver. I don't know in what order, but basically we can let's bring it into C sharp or something. So now when we do this, instead of being an E standard, even though the guitar is still tuned to E standard, it'll sound like it's an C sharp. This is the actual tuning of the guitar. So that's how that works. And then I don't use that often, but it's nice when you're jamming with different people. You don't have to get a new set of strings and everything to tune down. After that will go into the MXR Wild Overdrive, and most of the time when I do this is for clean tones. At the end of the song Planet, I use this in conjunction with the clean. You get that sound, it just overdrives it a little bit. Interesting thing to use. Main distortion sound comes from the Boss ML2 metalcore. Just in general, if you want to know like the distortion settings, you plug the amp into what it was before, set the amp to the settings it was, and then if you want to get close up on here with settings we got, put distortion at 12 o'clock. We're going to put the highs at about 9, put the lows at about 1, and then put the level about 130 or whatever you want it, but I have it at 130 right now because that's how loud I want it. And then through that you get the main distortion sound that we have. That's the main sound.
Nice.
Now, if you want to contrast that, here's what the distortion sound sounds like just through the amp. Like, it doesn't sound bad, but it's just not heavy enough.
Sounds considerably worse, to be honest.
It works fine if you want that sound. I like this sound better. Just more chunky.
Yeah.
I use this pedal for whenever I feel like it for solos. Just gets you that weird sound. I don't know if I'm going to do it in Punishment in Hell, but I think that's where it's going to be best. So that's what that does. And then with the signal path here, we're going to turn this down so it won't make noise. You take this will go into here, this goes into here, this goes into here, this goes into here. Now, those all get sent to the front end, but we'll explain that later. Here is what is going through the loop. We got the TC Electronics Nova system. Basically what I did is I've just tuned the sounds that I want to where it was. I just had it on the first setting, and then I just tweaked the first setting to what I want, and then the second setting right here is for Hold On Forever. So we're going to play that tone now. And that's what it was standard when I came in. I just had the sustain hold note, and I like that. Sounds good. But for the 1-1, I'm not going to go through all the menus for what I've stored these values for. But got a little bit of compression that I can throw in, and some boost I can throw in for solos if I need to go over the bass part. And then for the pitch, I have a detune because I like that, how that sounds a little bit better than the chorus. We're going to play that on the clean sound now. That's how that sounds. And just generally, when you have that in a sound, you can make it sound pretty good. This pedal is not a wah. This is actually an expression pedal, which I have tied to the flanger setting that I have set. So basically what this does, I'm going to show you. Basically, it just speeds up how much your flange is. So we're going to just play one note. That's what that does. That's what I have it set to. You can set it to anything on here. You just plug it into the back. And then we just got a standard dynamic delay that I like. So these three sounds together on this setting get you just like basically what I have for the section at the end of Planet. I'm going back to the end of Planet again because I use a lot of this pedal board in that song. This is the part where the air raid siren goes off. So that's how you get that. Basically, just get you all the wacky sounds that you need whenever you need it. Now we're going to explain how this works here. So I was explaining how these four pedals go in a chain here. These will end up coming out right here. And then here's the pedal. This goes into the back of this pedal, which you modified so you can unplug it. And then these two also go to these two, which control this. There's a send return system. This gets sent to a loop. So all four of these go to this bound up thing that we have going. And these all four are bound up. So the four pedals that are at the beginning of the chain, the detune and the distortion and everything, these are on this one, and then this gets sent to the front of the amp. And these three are the ones that these two are the ones for the send return for the Nova system. And then this one is for the little black pedal that controls the reverb and the channel on the amp. That's pretty much how you get all the tones and stuff, and that's how the pedal board works. And I don't think there's much else, but that's how everything goes together.
All right, that's cool. Very interesting.
We're gonna do yours next.
Yeah.